Great. Hi. Thanks, everyone. Hi, Rita. Appreciate you organizing this as always. So we're super excited today. I'm Joe DiGiovanni. I'm the co-founder of Tap Network. I have with me Kyle Barkins, my other co-founder. We've a marketing technology firm that's been around for 12 years. We're exclusive partner with TechSoup. So we do two webinars a month, create a lot of blogs, reports, and we're especially excited about this report, the AI benchmark study report. We're also a service provider for TechSoup. So we provide marketing and technology services. So if you go to the services dropdown and you click on website development or digital marketing and now AI, you can see some of the affordable services that we offer through TechSoup. Just some of those services are listed here. So you can see we're a full service firm that works exclusively with nonprofits with TechSoup, serving over 1,000 nonprofits a year. So anyhow, we're not AI chatbots just yet. It's still Kyle and I here. But as you get through the report, you'll see a lot of new trends that are coming out, and we're excited to share it with you today. And you could download it. We'll share the link to the report in the chat, and we'll also send out this presentation as well, so you can get both. So let's get started. For the agenda today, we're going to go through the report and look at the AI adoption trends in nonprofits, so you can see what your peers are doing, what challenges they have, what their successes, and also in 2025 where they're looking to evolve their AI adoption. And then we'll look at some practical steps to get started. A lot of folks are using ChatGPT now, but really taking that to the next level with a lot of different tools. And we'll even have some use cases, and we'll have a Q&A as well. So let's take a look at why AI matters for nonprofits. So on the next slide, as you can see, we know it's important. We've asked over 1,000 participants. This is a very highly involved survey. We got a lot of participants, over 1,000, and we broke it out over small nonprofits under $1 million and over $1 million in funding or revenue per year. And we'll see a mix between the nonprofits and their adoption rates across different parameters as well. So very inclusive survey. And then on the next slide, we'll just get into a little more detail. This survey was was conducted, and basically, there's a paradigm shift right now in the nonprofit space. Technology accelerating. It's why we're conducting this survey. We're getting so many questions about AI, and a lot of nonprofits, they're at that point where they really need to modernize their technology, kind of replacing the legacy systems that they have, and knowing that in that replacement or in that digital transformation, AI is a part of a lot of it. So as folks replace their websites, so we're integrating websites, AI is built into a lot of the back end of websites and WordPress and others. And there's your CRM, your customer relationship management, your content management system, your CMS, your LMS, your learning management system, fundraising platforms, marketing software. All these legacy systems, a lot of nonprofits are replacing them. AI is a part of it. So we're really looking at, and a lot of nonprofits are saying to themselves, how can we be more efficient? How can we survive and thrive in this era of acceleration and essentially connect the dots between all these systems? So as they implement them, AI is a part of it, and it's really driving efficiency and impacting the community as well as increasing fundraising. So it's the perfect storm for AI, but you want to make sure you navigate the waters well, and it's kind of the genesis of why we ran this report. So why AI matters? Just like I said, it's the three main reasons is boosting efficiency. We know with Doge and the government really demanding efficiency, that's leaking into the nonprofit space. And it's a good thing too, because by driving efficiency, we can really help drive fundraising and impact in the community, as well as empowering the nonprofits to focus on the things that really matter most. So as we go through the survey and the report, we'll see where that's actually taking place and happening. So what we'd like to do now, just a quick show of hands before we get into all the results. How many of you have started exploring AI tools for your nonprofit? Whether it's ChatGPT, I know that's, about a year old now, but what else are you starting to use? What other tools and platforms and use cases? If you just put that in the chat, we can take a peek at that.
I see a lot of thumbs up and hearts going on coming across my screen. It's pretty funny to see
Yes,
that on Zoom.
people are starting to use hearts and thumbs more.
It looks
Yeah.
like a good number of you have started using this, and I think that's what we'll see as we go through the rest of this and some of these key findings. Um, So just a quick overview, or kind of quick breakdown of what the AI landscape looks like. What we've realized from these findings. Um, See, about a lot of nonprofits are still really early in the early adoption phase, with 76% of them saying that they're lacking a formal AI strategy. Like many of you have answered today, a lot of people are using like ChatGPT and some of the more common things that they see out there, and sort of testing the waters. Um, but we see that there's not a lot of like real, okay, what are we going to do with this? Where is it going to fit in with the rest of our organization? Lots of interest, but also lots of hurdles to adoption. 30% of those are saying that are looking at finance, cost being a major constraint and one of the big barriers to entry. And sometimes that's because they don't know what those costs are. Sometimes that's because they perceive the cost to be very high, and sometimes that's because the costs really, they are high, or lack of understanding in the nonprofit space and in the AI space, from someone internally means there might be an external cost to bring in a consultant or bring in a third party vendor. Um, to do that. But despite some of these challenges, we do see that there's organizations are really understand the potential for using AI to increase efficiency, as Joe is starting to touch on, for fundraising and for operational workflows. So maybe not, maybe like somebody mentioned, using it to plan their vacation, which is obviously like to make you more efficient, let you discover more options for you, or take some of the time off your plate, and even act as like a virtual assistant. So certainly something we're seeing, and what many of the respondents in this survey noted. Um, but we kind of the outcome of this is, looking at more affordable solutions, getting leadership buy-in and stakeholder engagement, and having a structured strategy and a plan to move forward is really what's going to help move the needle and drive, further AI adoption for organizations like yours. Some of that breakdown, what this looks like. We see that 96% of nonprofits that responded said that they have at least a basic understanding of AI. So that was actually probably, I think, if going into this, if I'd made a guess, I would say that I thought that number would be a little bit lower, because we do get so much interest with people telling us they don't know where to start. They've tried a couple of these tools, but from my, I guess from my background, I would think that that's like, we're interested, but we don't really have much of an understanding. So that was pretty interesting to see of 1,000 or over 1,000 organizations, that a lot of them do have an understanding of what it is and what it might do. But I think, webinars like this and a lot of the content that we put out and TechSoup puts out really helps drive a lot of that understanding. From this, we also note that the executive team are really a lot of times the ones engaging. With more than 50% of those have actively used AI in either their work or their personal life. So that's it's often key to adoption. Sometimes we'll see adoption either come, really heavily from the top and not enough on the bottom, or, someone new, like the accidental techie in an organization, or even interns and things like that are the ones that kind of grab onto these new technologies faster, and it takes a while to get executive buy-in. So that's nice to see that this is, kind of crossing that piece there. However, we did see that from this, we saw that only 6% of the responses, so 5.9%, you can see on the slide, are saying that they're an AI expert. They're doing anything to create opportunities, or outsourcing expertise. So even though we have a lot of understanding, we think there's a lot of understanding, only 6%. So kind of probably what I expected, are calling themselves experts and are really, taking advantage of the tools out there. how are nonprofits using AI? So some of you answered this when Aretha asked earlier on. We did see, note by your show of hands and hearts that people are using this, but really, I think how is the big question. So with a lot of people understanding what AI can do or having a basic understanding of it, only 26%, so about a quarter, have actually started to use it. And I think lots of this answer is maybe not using it at all. It's using it for their nonprofit in their organization. So using tools like Copilot, using tools like ChatGPT, using some of the AI capabilities in the common systems, or even going after a system that's specifically geared towards AI. So a lot of you are really a lot of the nonprofits are really in that early stage. Higher percent, 42% are relying on individual staff to explore those tools. So there's not like a really concerted effort or global approach to this. They're typically assigning this to one person or a few people to kind of explore those tools and report back to them. We've done a number of AI audits and AI workshops with different organizations of all sizes, and I can say this number reflects probably even a greater majority of them, because typically we'll have a single point of contact who will be the leader, the person sort of spearheading the AI adoption, and they'll use that and use those workshops to report back to the rest of the team or to bring their team into that conversation. And only 7% have say that they really successfully adopted AI to deliver their mission to better serve their communities. Some of the popular early applications we're seeing, as many of you already mentioned, is using it for grant writing and fundraising opportunities, content marketing. Content's huge. I think has a lot to do with how this stuff has been pushed out, where the education is around it, and what you're seeing others using this for. So that's stuff like creating blog posts and emails and web copy and things like that, with tools like ChatGPT and Claude. And then data analysis. So data analysis is actually popular, but pretty great way to use AI tools, and often built into some of those data tools already. And something we were, I think, excited to see was from these respondents, only about 1% oppose AI. So they're not, I would say, not scared of it. They're not scared of adopting AI. They're not thinking that AI is like the big bad wolf or someone's really going to come take their jobs. I think probably differently than in some other industries where the concern is that AI could eliminate jobs or eliminate their roles. Nonprofits are seeing this as an opportunity to get more out of from their organization, get more capacity, become more efficient. So that's the current state of AI. Looking forward for 2025, so this year and beyond, for nonprofits, we're interested to see some of the use cases for adoption. So how nonprofits are planning to use this in their day-to-day, or to use this to serve their communities and their organizations. 25%, about a quarter of them, sorry, are already using it, as we mentioned, using this in the grant writing process. And then about a third are using it or using it or planning to use it to enhance communication, drive those marketing efforts. So things like, think of using like ChatGPT to write draft proposals, to do research summaries, do comparatives. What we're seeing a lot of times is people are using a few different grant proposals or RFPs, things like that, dropping those into tools like ChatGPT and Claude, and having them summarize, what are the key points, what are the key things that they need to do, and then even go out there and do some research for them to summarize, either from their own content or other content in the space, what's important, what's going to help check the boxes and fulfill the needs of that. There's like grant writing tools. There's also tools that already exist that are like built around grants. So things like Grant Hub, Foundant, Proposal AI, all these tools that can help use either use AI to write grants, so they're more geared towards the framework of grants and grant writing, or even to uncover some of the possible grants that are out there for organizations. In the future, we're looking at, we talked about using this for data analysis. So even though about a half people haven't used AI in data analysis this year, 16% are planning to use it, 23% are planning to adopt it within a year, to do some more data analysis. And that could be using things like Power BI. Tableau has like a plugin or an assistant called Einstein. Google Analytics 4 has AI-powered user like behavior interest things to do things like predictive analysis, to identify trends, to look at your existing data and other data in your space to identify like where's the right community to go out there and serve, or what are our constituents asking for, what do they need more of. So a great opportunity to adopt that around multiple facets within your business. Some of the things that people are hesitant on are, using it for customer engagement. So lot of people that are interested in using it for chatbots, but they don't want to take the personal aspect out of that. So finding ways around that. Using it for personalization. So using it on a website to personalize, some of the content to each individual visitor or segment of visitors. And then there's obviously ethical considerations that commonly come up where, we see bias within AI responses. So a heavy need there to prioritize like the ethical principles and making sure that we're closing that gap. So a quick poll, if you could just answer in the chat, A, B, C, D, or E, which AI use case do you think will have the biggest impact for your organization? Is it grant writing? Is it content marketing, data analysis, fundraising optimization, or donor engagement? So we separated fundraising from donor engagement. So it's more like, how do you personalize the messaging to donors? How do you engage with them, interact with them? A lot of C's actually. I'm seeing a lot of C's in here for data analysis, and E's donor engagement, grant writing. Actually, less content marketing than I would have thought probably. Awesome. We got A, B, C, D, and D. So somebody's going to use it for everything. That's awesome. That's great to see. Keep going through. So some top tools that that nonprofits are using. So a lot of this you probably have seen or heard in here. Generative AI, so content, creating imagery, things like that would be tools like ChatGPT, Dolly. We're seeing that of the AI adoption respondents, 85% are using it for generative AI and using some of these tools. Using it for speech recognition, so think of like Otter.ai, Read.ai. A lot of these, like I think it's like Firefly.ai, that these like meeting tools and speech recognition things that can transcribe. 37% of the respondents are using those type of tools. Marketing automation, about a quarter are using it to streamline like repetitive tasks and also to engage like contextually with their respondents. So using not just calling it AI, but also the automation tools like HubSpot, some of the automation that's available in tools like Constant Contact and MailChimp, Zapier. And then kind of the lower end would be, using AI for virtual assistants and chatbots. So to replace, almost quote unquote replace an employee or replace a person. And then smaller 12% are using it for predictive analytics. So we did see a lot of respondents using it for data analysis. So that number will probably tick up when we do this survey next year. Some of the more emerging tools, so things that aren't kind of as common, using it for personalization. So almost half of nonprofits have not planned or haven't started to use AI for customer engagement. So doing, like we talked about, website personalization. So that's a really key area for growth, to make sure that not every person that comes to your website seeing the exact same thing, just like not every person reading an email from you is reading the exact same thing. Being able to personalize the content and be more contextual to your different visitors, your different segments, is really going to help move the needle and drive, higher conversion rates, more donations, better fundraising, and a better experience. And then say we talked about, donor experiences and workflow automation, finding a way to use chatbots to better personalize, to better engage with donors, so that, maybe you work 9 to 5 and you're only able to service so many donors at a time. Leveraging an AI tool, leveraging different platforms will allow you to not be spread so thin, and spread yourself a little wider, for your donors to be able to answer the common questions with tools like AI chatbots or automation. So think about how they're using tools to like revolutionize their engagement, drive better fundraising, and become more efficient. And then by organization size, so as Joe mentioned in the beginning, we had a pretty decent split between large organizations, so organizations that do more than $1 million a year in revenue and have a budget of the same size, or smaller organizations. So what that breakdown looks like is for the large organizations, heavy usage of predictive analytics, marketing automation, and this virtual assistants. So, versus the whole, we're seeing that the large organizations are quicker to adopt some of these things, some of the things that the organizations as a whole were slower to or hesitant to adopt. And so we see that the smaller organizations are what's helping kind of skew those numbers. They're slower to adopt due to those resource constraints, with only about a third exploring the predictive analytics, and then fewer in the marketing automation and virtual assistant respondents.
Great. Thanks, Kyle. So, there's a lot of opportunity, and we're seeing, a general excitement in the field, but there's also some challenges that nonprofits are raising in terms of adaptation and adoption. We also did a verbatim analysis in the report, so you can actually see word for word some of these challenges as well. So again, we'll share that with you. But number one, like Kyle said, it depends on the size of the nonprofit, a lack of resources. So, 50% of the folks that responded operate on budgets under $500,000. Most nonprofit budgets, we know just industry-wise, are $100,000, $200,000 a year. So that makes it, in some cases, harder to adopt AI, but prices are coming down. Folks are starting to use ChatGPT more, and a lot of these tools are being built into the systems that they're using anyhow. So by that nature, AI will start to evolve into the tools that everyone is using. As we mentioned before, 76% of nonprofits lack a formal AI strategy. And someone thought that was surprising, and that 24% actually do have a strategy. We dig deeper in here as well, and kind of to that point, one of the participants mentioned only 7% have successfully adopted AI for mission delivery. So, and I think that goes back to a lot of respondents today when that one question, a lot of folks weren't using it for content marketing just yet. And content marketing very, very heavily tied into mission delivery. So as you use tools like HubSpot that are adopting AI, and AI is being developed into the engagement tools that are out there, it's really going to transform mission delivery. That means you could take behavioral science, the health belief model, and literally create the messaging at each stage of the health belief model and serve it to folks at the right time in the right place to get them to quit smoking or to go see a doctor about their diabetes and other use cases when you're out there trying to execute against your mission. So I think there's a huge opportunity there, and we're just starting to see AI creep into actual community engagement. We're seeing it more on the fundraising side, but the real power too is on delivering your mission and making an impact in your community. Ethical concerns. This is within businesses. We work with governments as well. This is across the board. There's people are looking at how do you address inclusivity, data privacy, and minimizing bias, and that is slowly being adopted by the larger tools. And we're collaborating with different folks to make sure that that is being looked at, and also putting policies in place so that nonprofits can make sure they're following their own guidelines when it comes to that. And then, generally the skepticism and trust that really is around the accuracy too. And you're going to see some of these GPTs, create some type of content that might not be accurate or real. You have to keep an eye on that. But you could also train the these bots on your own information. So it's not pulling it from the web, it's pulling it from your own data and database and content, and that'll really kind of address that as well. But these are all different things that nonprofits are concerned about. rightfully concerned, but there are tools, the technology is evolving, and if you have a plan, these can slowly be addressed. So let's see, next slide. We'll get a little deeper into this. Overcoming barriers to AI adoption. So is it affordable? A lot of nonprofits, one concern, like we said, was how is this affordable? And that's really about leveraging cost-effective AI tools that are tailored for nonprofits. What's happening is a lot of best practices are happening in the enterprise, the business space, and then they are being, adopted into the nonprofit space. So the good news is they're spending the money to learn and develop these tools, and then quickly it's being adopted in the nonprofit space. And there's a lot of, and we'll share tools. I know I saw some webinar chat. We'll share some tools that are free or low cost in terms of training, and you could even pilot some of these as well. Even HubSpot has a free service. And clear strategies. Again, on the smaller nonprofits, what we're seeing is the strategy is, yes, let's use ChatGPT for grant writing and for writing our social posts and our content. That's on, the lower tier level. As nonprofits are scaling and really using AI, then we're seeing the strategies built into a lot of the automation. So how do you automate your operations, your marketing, and tie all that together, your fundraising? And there's a lot of tools like Kyle mentioned, Make, Zapier, that can really connect these different tools together, use AI and automation to optimize these workflows. And then, of course, you can drive significant savings and also impact as these strategies come into place. But that's going to take, some planning. And previous slide, we mentioned around 30–40% of nonprofits might have someone that is in IT or manages the IT. And if they're capable of doing that, then we'll come in and work with them and help them. In other cases, a lot of nonprofits, it's the executive director or the marketing director that's trying to, integrate all this, and they'll need some help as well. So that's where the expert support comes in. That could be fractional support or training, but there's a lot of different options that we could help you with, but that are also free out there on the internet as well. So what we're really seeing because of that is inclusivity. There's a few quick steps you could do. You can ensure that your AI-driven solutions consider a diverse audience. You can do that through GPT, Claude, and others. And you can, we're doing that with literacy now. We can write content at a certain literacy level for certain audiences. There's all different ways you could do that, and that really comes down to training, reviewing, optimizing your content. And if you have a marketing automation platform for all your different diverse audiences, whether it's donors, funders, rural communities, cities, you can adopt your content and make it inclusive and personalize it and push it out that way. Data privacy, again, that's having internal rules and regulations on how you use AI. And then bias reduction, again, working out how to decrease bias. And again, that's training and working with your algorithmic basis to make sure that you're not including bias in your content. And then the next slide, it's balancing AI with the personal touch. The good news is that 1% of nonprofits are resisting AI adoption. They recognize the potential and how it can complement human efforts. But there's still a little uncertainty out there around, will AI take my job? And what we're seeing from, we've worked literally with over 1,000 nonprofits a year. And then the benchmark study is it really can work together. It's kind of an enhancement. So if what we're seeing is AI could automate a lot of tasks, like everyone has said, grant writing, 24% of nonprofits use it to support grant writing. That saves hours and improves the conciseness and clarity of of the writing. And then also AI enhances rather than places human empathy. So if you can use AI to get your ideas down, add your own context and empathy, you can really elevate the content. So there's a lot of different ways to do that. But again, if you can add the human touch to and let AI increase the efficiency, then that'll really support your email marketing, email like AI powered email creation, send time optimization, list segmentation, all your different content tools, blog post templates, social media scheduling, things of that nature, landing pages. When folks come from your marketing to your landing page, that could be optimized and personalized. So the time that could be saved in the efficiency and even the increase in impact and increase in conversion rates across the board can really be elevated. And if you add the human touch, real examples of who you're serving, why you're serving them, you'll be able to kind of overcome this fear of just having bots do everything, and they can really help enhance your impact. And again, we're just kind of, when you go through the report, we'll have all the different statistics in there, and then we also go into detail on how to address some of these. So privacy, accuracy, and skepticism. For privacy, there's different solutions that you can look at. It's about implementing robust data encryption and access controls across your team, ensuring compliance and data protection regulations like GDPR, and conducting regular security audits and vulnerability assets. That's something we work with nonprofits on in implementing these types of safeguards. And then for accuracy, there's a couple of ways you can do that too. High quality, diverse data sets to train AI models, continuously monitor and validate your AI outputs against the benchmarks, and incorporate human oversight to review and refine these models. And then finally, skepticism, providing transparent explanations of AI processes and decisions, doing that internally with your team and externally to your board, to your funders, to the community. Being transparent, transparency is huge. And then offering training and resources to your team, to your stakeholders, and have them really understand the benefits and limitations of AI so everyone is on the same page. And then share success stories and case studies within your team, within the board, to really show how effective AI implementation is, and not to do it all at once, but in a phased approach, step by step, and then connecting those steps through AI and automation is kind of the best way to go about it. So hope that helps. Again, if you go through the report, you'll get details on the data and then also some recommendations. On the next slide, it really comes down to, like we said, 99% of the nonprofits we interviewed or completed the survey, they found that AI is going to be that there's positive benefits to it, and they're going to be adopting it. And the main reasons, like we said, boosting efficiency, solving complex issues, and driving fundraising. And then we had the verbatim analysis in there as well. Folks are saying AI could help us increase donor leads and fundraising opportunities, streamlining operations, lets us focus more on delivering our mission. So we don't really see it as replacing jobs. It's really freeing up more time for the development officers, executive directors, the marketing folks, the people in the field who are having to fill out paper forms and digitizing that. There's a lot of different ways you could drive efficiency and even solve some of your complex issues. Like everyone was saying earlier, the analysis of data is huge, whether it's benchmarking the social determinants of health in your community and the impact, a lot of different ways that you could do that. So we're excited to share the report with you, have some insights, go over the tools that are available, and at the end of the conversation today, we'll try to answer some questions as well. So right now, I just want to go over some services that TechSoup offers for nonprofits. Um, through TechSoup, through TAP, the AI solutions, and we built this through the survey and working with nonprofits over the past year on all the different needs that they have. So a couple different services that TechSoup offers. There's AI enhanced websites. If you're looking to relaunch your website or kick off your first website, whether, generally it's WordPress, the way the websites are built now, there's AI built into the back end, so we could quickly build them. And then once they're built, train the nonprofits on how to use the AI on the back end. So you could really effectively um, provide the right content, sync it to your social media, data optimization, leveraging AI insights to drive better decisions. And then also CRM and donor management, whether it's HubSpot or other um, marketing automation systems. All these pieces work together. So when you're working with TechSoup or you go to one of our service offerings, these are just some of the things that we could do to really build AI into your mix. It's not as if, boom, we're going to create a chatbot. It's taking the existing systems you have, doing an audit, understanding where AI can fit in, and is AI integrated into your current tools? Can it be integrated, or are there other tools that can do everything, or more than just one thing? So social media publishing, website publishing, your email, your outgoing email, your reporting, all of that being connected and AI being utilized. And let's see, next slide. So we'll send this deck out. Again, you could download the report right from the deck. I think we're sharing it here in the board as well. And finally, just we'll want to share some examples too. Like I just mentioned, AI automation. HubSpot is a CRM similar to Salesforce, but a little more not. It's a little less complicated than Salesforce. It just depends on what you're using. But there's the chatbots, there's the intelligence, there's agents. So whether it's your marketing, your sales being donor engagement, customer hub, connect, that's your content marketing, all these different pieces on the CRMs now that can integrate into your website. A lot of these have AI built into them. So as you explore the different CRMs and CMSs, they're going to have AI as part of them. And we can go into more detail on that as well. So finally, if you're interested, we have an AI starter package. It's an assessment, a consultation, and a recommendation. So we'll work with your nonprofit and we'll do initial assessment of your tech stack, your marketing plan, your business plan, your website, and then a 90-minute consultation that will provide an AI overview of the technologies that you can implement and a report of recommendations to get started. So before you break the bank on all these tools and technologies, helping you really identify where you are right now from a funding standpoint, capacity building standpoint, where you want to go, and kind of make the recommendations on getting started. And then we also have AI services for nonprofits. So this is a monthly retainer package. It's like a fractional support service through TechSoup. So it's AI optimization, AI integration, AI training, integrating AI, like we said, into your website, into your publishing, into your donor engagement tools. And it's a retainer based, starting at $8.99 a month. That way, we can help you scale and grow. It's affordable, and it's like having, your own part-time CTO, AI expert, marketing expert, getting access to a team of folks who can help you integrate, train you, and then help you scale AI as you grow. And we'll provide links to that as well. And now we'll open it up for any questions, and we could share some use cases too.
There was a question earlier. Deb asked, the survey based on US nonprofits? Was it just US nonprofits that did the survey?
I believe it was open to anybody, any of TechSoup's audience. I don't have the breakdown in front of me of exactly the where they were located. Um, it was also self-reporting, so it's where they told us what their size was, things like that.
Okay. Kyle, did you want to read the ones in the
Yep.
Q&A? Okay.
Yep, I'll jump through these. So I did see a couple people asking questions in the QA. They said the download link's not working. I think it's just a confusion piece. Like if you click download or download here, it just takes you um to the form. So you have to fill the form out. Once you fill the form out, you'll get an email in just a few minutes with the content of that report in it. Um, the Somebody asked if there a link with full list of tools we can use. So some of the tools we mentioned in this and then in the presentation, you'll see those in the presentation that can be shared after this webinar. Sure, obviously I think the list of tools is almost infinite and ever changing. But some of the ones that we mentioned today would be good to go through. And if you want to reach out to us following the webinar, we're happy to share some that would be specific to kind of your use case and even possibly tailor like a solution for you all. Somebody asked if Gmail addresses are accepted. You can use the Gmail address in the form for sure. Um, Someone asked, is there a better CRM that nonprofits are using? Can nonprofits get reduced prices to use Salesforce as a CRM? I think these answers are like that's kind of subjective. There's certainly not a one size fits all. Salesforce is can work for any organization, but it's kind of what you make of it. And oftentimes either the donated version or the discounted version of Salesforce can be missing some of the pieces that you might need, but you will need someone who knows how to build it in Salesforce and build it for your nonprofit. There's a number of other CRMs that are available. We talked about HubSpot. HubSpot has a starter package which is free or reduced pricing for nonprofits, and there's also nonprofit discounts available through HubSpot that we can help you get if you just reach out to us and give you sort of those price ranges. There are specific CRMs built for nonprofits. So if I think the nonprofit designation is so wide, like you can service many different things. There's nonprofits that make money by selling services, by selling goods, there's nonprofits that are associations. So then there's nonprofits that just do general fundraising. There's all kinds of different uses for nonprofits. So like you would need to ideally pick a CRM that is for more of your market or the service type that you do. So it might not necessarily be geared just towards donations or just towards fundraising. But there are tools like Little Green Light and other tools that are even available through TechSoup. Blackbaud, of course, has a number of different tools, or just tailoring one that's out there to fit your use case. So I would think of it less of like what works for nonprofits and more for what's going to work for what you're trying to do, whether you're trying to deliver a service, you're trying to deliver a good, how you do your development, how you do your fundraising. Someone asked what predictive analytics is and what it can do for a nonprofit. That's a great question. So predictive analytics is typically using like, you have to give it some of your previous data. You have to give it some data sets and then some expectations. But what it can do is start to identify like patterns for you. So it can start to look at, I mean, think of something basic like maybe revenue year over year. It can start to do some predictive analysis of what kind of revenue to expect during the same time period over this year versus last year, and then then you give it some different inputs, or it can find different inputs to take that stuff into consideration and start building sort of a model to say, we expect you should make this much this month based on like attrition, based on growth, whatever that might be. It's very helpful for things like trying to plan out stuff like website traffic or advertising. It can certainly help you plan for growth. It can help you plan for where your business might contract as well. So it's mining over your existing data or other data sets that you give it to come up with sort of a more predictive outcome there. Someone asked, I'm sorry, I'm just trying to catch up on some of these questions in here. We would like training. We would like a live person. Will this be a live training? We could, I mean, again, that's kind of tool specific and engagement specific. So certainly, if you reach out to us, we can understand, we can help address what your needs are, what you might need training on. We don't pretend to be an expert on every single tool that's out there, but we can help guide you in the right direction. And if there's tools that we're familiar with, or our team's familiar with, we can certainly provide training on those. Anything that we would work on, we would certainly provide training for. Um, how to gently how do you gently increase the sense of urgency to both the NFP's leadership and board to explore AI? Most folks say they want to, but they seem to be stuck. Any advice? Thanks. Um, so that's what we typically do that like as part of our workshop. It's a big piece of that. It's trying to bring a lot of the stakeholders to the table and really understand what stakeholders are involved or which ones are the blockers to keep AI, from advancing within an organization. So holding workshops like that and really and bringing them to presentations like this to help them understand the needs and how other people are doing it and where they're seeing success, and then really aligning that to your organization's goals. So if we do this, what does that mean for us? Or if we don't do this, what's that going to mean for us? So if we're continuing to do manual work and we're continuing to let's just say it's research grants, and we have a person on staff that's their entire job and role is to research grants, and they're able to produce 6 or 12 grant responses every year. If we could take some of that off their plate, and what can we take off their plate, what's that mean for the number of grant responses we can put out? So just trying to tie numbers to it and trying to tie outcomes to that is what's helpful, especially for like an executive or board level, to be able to go back and show them that this is not, we're not just trying to take work off our plate. If we take the work off our plate, this is what it's going to do. Or we're not just trying to, automate things for the sense of automating them. We're trying to do it because we have, we can serve a wider market if we can take some of the remedial things off our plate and put a chatbot, a personalized chatbot in here or something. Let's see. Are there things we should think about related to privacy within AI? I know my team and board will ask, are there reliable resources to point to? Yeah, privacy is, one of the paramount concerns with AI, any tool that you're using for AI. So it's, one of the first things that we try to work with nonprofits on to make sure they have is like an AI use policy or acceptable use policy for using AI. So what tools you can use, what tools you can use, what you can use AI for, what you can put into AI. So like if you are, collecting personal information about people, you don't want to be just dumping that into a public AI tool. You want to make sure that you're using a licensed version of whatever the tool might be, and then that tool will protect your data and keep your data secure, and then also has a mechanism to remove that data once you've put it in there, so that if someone asks for you to remove their information from your system, you're able to remove it from all systems they've ever been in. So there's a number of different ways to address that. It's again specific to your use case. Let me see. Any other questions? Anything else I didn't answer? I did see somebody asked who they can contact about a HubSpot discount. I will put I'll just put an email address in the chat. Um, Someone asked, how have grant funders reacted to grant proposals generated with AI? Is there uniformity with such proposals that may hurt or chances of getting funded? So I would caution this, and actually, I would say in any case, like I wouldn't let AI do all the work. You don't want to be submitting like you don't want to have AI do all the writing for you. We would just typically use AI in many steps of the process. So coming up with coming up with an outline, identifying the needs, coming up with the outline, helping you identify like the key talking points and key terms, and then even having it start to put it in the words or in the tone of you as the grant writer or your organization. But I wouldn't rely on it to kind of really do all the work for you, so to speak. And if you do that, if you do that, there's obviously one of the first things that we would do. We do this when we get resumes. We do this when we get reports. We do this when we work with, outsourced service providers for different things is run their responses through like AI tools to see if it's been created with AI or generated with AI. Because while we want people, we want people to use AI tools to further themselves along, we don't want them to only use AI tools. There's no reason for us to, you know, basically, pay someone for work if they're just using a tool to generate it. We can just do that ourselves. So, you do need to have some, I think, there still needs to be some human input, and put your own kind of spin on it. But this AI certainly be used to help close that gap and identify those needs and identify, how you can write that grant a little bit better. Let me share some use cases. I know we've given some examples, but I think like sort of prompt maybe a couple more questions in the last few minutes we have. Just some different ways that people are using AI. So certainly for productivity, meetings, meeting minutes, board meetings. So the old way we would, someone would keep meeting notes. A secretary might record those notes by hand. You might record it on a device or something like that. New ways, we use AI on pretty much any meeting, which will dial into the meeting for us and record the call, and it'll transcribe the meeting, and it also does like summaries of and bullets that meeting out. And what the reason I like that, and the reason I think this is really helpful for anybody really that's having virtual meetings or in-person meetings, is it allows you to really pay attention to be more present in the meetings. So, I know certainly you can take notes on your own, but if I'm having a conversation or trying to watch a webinar while I'm trying to take notes, I can't be as present, I can't be as engaged in the meeting. But if I'm able to just engage in the meeting, uh, that's and know that there's a tool running in the background that's going to summarize it, going to capture all that information, and going to kick that back to me later. I found, at least personally, that that's very helpful for me to have that conversation, remember that conversation, follow up on that conversation, and then revert, kind of review that or revert back to that before, follow-up conversations. And we'll even feed that into like our CRM systems and things like that. So it allows us to have better contextual conversations in the future. It's also great, like as we said, for using it for like recording board minutes or association minutes, things of that nature. So you're not stuck with a person that's kind of solely responsible for that. For constituent support, so thinking of different ways that always people would use this, they would have like voice response systems. People would call in and press 1 for this information, press 2 for this information. You'd have to go out and kind of find your own answers on websites, so searching through those. And if there were websites like chatbots on websites, a lot of times they kind of work like a search engine, so you have to really know how to ask it the right question to get the answer out of it. The new way is using things that are more conversational. So I'm sure at this point you've all been on websites now that have chatbots that are leveraging AI to be more contextual to you. A lot of banks use these types of things, so they ask how they can help you, and they try to guide you down the right path. And then maybe the last step is, okay, I'll connect you with an agent. But the hope is there that you've been able to get a lot of your answers out of them, and they've been able to service you, more quickly, so they don't have to spread their agents so thin. Um, One of the nice aspects of this is like a lot of these will have multilingual support. While it might not be perfect or it might not be specifically localized, it can get you a lot further than having to translate a lot of the information in kind of real time or not real time, or have a translator on staff. And this allows you to also then better collect a lot of that information and use that for training, use that for future conversations, and really reduce like the strain on your team. I do have a couple more questions that popped up. I do want to make sure we answer. Someone asked if we're familiar with Grantable. It's an app for managing grant application content and using AI for compiling or composing grant applications. I'm not personally familiar with that. Not to say that someone on our team isn't, it's just not really my forte. Um, but I don't know if there's an additional question with that. Someone said, do these systems allow data, pictures, meeting recordings to be saved, accessed outside of the agency? If we're talking about like like things like read.ai or like Fathom and things like that, a lot of those tools, Otter.ai, they do allow recording and sharing those recordings. I know, for example, like read.ai will actually record the meeting as well. So you'll have a recording, a transcription, and you'll have like the bullets and the notes, takeaways from that, and you can actually create clips and things of that nature and share those externally. Someone asked how you can use Fathom or other meeting note takers for in-person meetings. Sort of the same way, like what we've done in the past is use like a phone or bring your computer and let that do the recording. It's not as perfect, quote unquote, as like the where people dial in, because it can't tell you, like, if on this meeting, if you can see Joe and Aretha and myself and all of you, if you all were engaging a transcribed summary, would be able to read who we were logged in as. That's a little different, but at least in person, you can certainly do the recordings and the summaries. Are nonprofits using Copilot for sales with the CRM? I know nonprofits are certainly using Copilot and using that to populate their CRM and to provide different services, not specifically for maybe for sales, but I'm sure that some are. There's certainly a way to do that. A few more just kind of examples, use cases. I don't know if Joe, this is Joe's favorite tool, I think, but let's just share some of these.
Now this is an example from Sora. It's now available to the public for creating videos. And it's still got a little ways to go, but it can do some very creative stuff. I think by the end of the year, as there's more acquisitions in the space and more content's available to feed into these video systems, you'll be able to create much more customized video around your particular mission. But super exciting on the cost savings to create videos, especially impactful videos for marketing and engaging the community. On the next slide, what we are using it for, and a lot of our clients are using AI, is a tool called Synesthesia. It enables you can literally upload a PDF or let them know what your topic is, and it will create a script for a training video or any type of video where you have slides and a talking avatar. So you could choose an avatar to put up there and talk. You could even scan in your own face and have yourself up there as the talking avatar. This is great for education for volunteers as you're training volunteers, or for educational engagement within the community. And you can literally create a training video in 10 minutes with tools like this, and saves a ton of time and a ton of money as well. I think they even have Santa Claus as an avatar in there as well. So a lot of exciting way in terms of education, training. It's happening now with nonprofits and in the government space. And these are just some of the tools that we've implemented AI into. Again, it's taking existing tools or systems or platforms, and how can we use AI to enhance it. On the left, that's an app that was originally, this is for home health workers. They would go into the community. They had to engage with folks in the community and refer social workers. So using AI to put all the resources right at the point of conversation for these home health workers. And this was funded in part by United Way and Department of Health. The next one there is State of California, where we built a learning management system built on AI to help. We trained over 80,000 teachers in the state of California, personalized it, gamified it, all on social media and bullying. Bunch of different examples. I know we're running out of time, so if you just hit us up, we'll go through some more. We'll take a look at your nonprofit, see similar use cases, how we could help out.
Awesome. Thank you all for the time. As Joe mentioned, reach out to us. Our URLs on this last slide, and there's the links have been shared, I think, through this, and you guys will receive follow-up emails from this too, with links to this presentation as well as to the benchmark report as well. So we look forward to hearing from you.